Hello, everybody. I've been thinking a lot lately about strength training and rehabilitation, and as I'm diving deeper, into strength training and being a strength coach, I wanted to put my money where my mouth is. I have a lot of conversations over the years with people about their what I think are misconceptions about rehabilitation, both on one side about like what's possible, right? People think some states of athleticism are like impossible to achieve in short periods of time when they're injured. And on the other end, I think people set themselves up for failure by, not taking the injury they have serious enough and saying, oh yeah, in 4 weeks I'll be able to do X, Y, Z and compete at my, maximum optimal performance, right? And so I wanted to essentially use myself as a case study to show you guys what's possible and what's not. And I don't really know how it's going to go, but I'm going to take you along for the journey, right? So let me give you a bit of background about the case study we're going to do, which is myself. So I just competed at the provincial championships in strongman in Ontario, where I live. This is a nice shirt we got. I earned. And basically during the one event, which was a yoke deadlift, I ended up hurting my knees. So I'll show you the clip here. But what happened essentially was on my last repetition, I was blacking out, but I really wanted to get it to push through. And I fell backwards. And just so you know, I have hypermobile, joints, knees, elbows. And I basically hyperextended my knees, trying to catch the yoke so that I could get the last repetition. So essentially what has happened more clinically is that the left knee's pretty good. It has a nagging injury from all my years of goaltending and hockey and strongman and everything. The right knee here, I've sprained my MCL. So this part of my knee has some laxity to it. Even when I walk some steps, I can feel the, lower part of my leg kind of move away from the knee. So not good if you want to compete in strength sports, right? So what I'm going to do is basically, I have another contest in 4 weeks' time. It's been 1 week since the injury, since the contest. And I want to show you in the next 4 weeks what's possible. So I'm going to take you through, what I'm going to use as testing exercises, what I'm going to use as rehab exercises, strengthening exercises, and show you all the work you need to do to try to set yourself up for success. And for me, hopefully success will be, setting some records at this upcoming contest, right? Or just having a good performance. And secondly, not having my knee get any worse, right? Obviously, worst case scenario is I can't do the contest. I can't make my knee better in that short amount of time and I have to pull out. But it's a case study and we're going to do it live and we're going to just see what happens. And I'm going to give you all my thoughts along the way about how I want to approach this problem, right? And how I'm going to assess and make decisions and try to strengthen my knee and get my body ready to compete in this, under these feats of strength. So I'm sitting here 4 weeks out and we'll see what happens. So the first thing I want to share with you is to give you the backstory of the last week, because basically I told you I had a contest and then I have 5 weeks till my next contest. And it's not like I've just been sitting around, right? So I should give you kind of ideas about what I've been doing. So the morning I woke up, it was very clear that my knee was not as good as it should have been, and it didn't really feel that bad during the contest, but I think just with all the adrenaline, the knee sleeves, the protective equipment, I just found a way to push through. Was that smart? Who knows? I became the 5th strongest amateur in Ontario in the under 120 kilo class, so I don't know. Pretty good with a knee that didn't work for half the contest. So this past week, I basically had my knee mostly under some kind of compression. I've had a knee sleeve on when I have to, say, walk long distances, or when I was cutting the grass, or if that laxity just, it doesn't feel right, I put a knee sleeve on. Or if I'm at home sitting around, I put like a tensor band around my knee. And I just you know, give it a little bit more stability so that when I take that step wasn't exactly linear, I don't feel the laxity, and also I don't make that ligament worse, right? The worst thing I can do right now is to put my knee in the position that injured it in, right? So to hyperextend my knee. So I've actually been walking in a guarded manner, and then slowly over this week trying to be less and less guarded as things feel better. And that's basically the state of the last week. Now, let me share with some of the exercises I've been doing with you. I've been trying my best to, throughout the day, just stand up and do standing hamstring curls against gravity. So just, the weight of my lower limb, standing up, doing some hamstring curls, high repetitions, right? They're easy to do. It doesn't hurt. So it feels weird, because of the laxity on the left side of my right knee, but it doesn't hurt at all. So I've been doing lots of those. And then usually once or twice a day, I come into the gym here and I'll do kind of these internal rotations against the band with the band around my foot. And basically that's just working the whole inner thigh all the way down my calf and really trying to strengthen the muscles that are going to help keep my knee in line with my toes. And so that's one of the things I've been doing. And the other one is lying hamstring curls against the band. And then more recently, like the last couple of days, I started adding in calf raises. So I've tried other things this week, but those 3 exercises seem to, first of all, not hurt. Second of all, not put my knee in the hyperextended position. And third of all, when I'm done them, I actually feel like my knee has more stability. So all of those are a win for me. And usually when I'm done those exercises, I can then walk up and down the stairs and I don't really feel guarded. So that's what I've been doing this week. And that's gotten me to the place today where what we're going to do is I'm actually going to pick an exercise, and it's going to be my test exercise for the next 4 weeks. And it's going to determine how well my knee stability is improving as we approach this contest. All right, so the exercise that I've chosen to be my test exercise is going to be a full range of motion barbell squat, but with a 3-second eccentric and a 3-second concentric. And just so you know, I don't really care about it being exactly 3 seconds. The intent I'm trying to do by specifying it being 3 seconds is that it's controlled. So it's not a half a second drop in the bottom and shoot up. Because, first of all, I don't want to do more damage to my knee. And tissues basically have a velocity dependent property. And so what I want to try to do first is minimize the velocity and focus on stability. And as that tissue adapts and it becomes more stable, then I'll have a base from which to slowly increase the velocity back to normal rates, right? But this way, by saying it's a 3 count or 3-second concentric and eccentric, then that will force me to control my knee positions better and, control the whole movement up and down. And so hopefully I'll be able to get the benefits of the squatting without damaging the knee further. So I'm going to show you why I picked this is because after all this work I've done, I can now squat like comfortably. It still feels weird, but comfortably all the way down and back up. So let me just show you. We're going to do body weight first, okay? So that's the first test. Obviously, if you were doing this and you couldn't manage the barbell either, then that's where you would start, right? But about the last day or so, I've been doing a bunch of squats. I think I did maybe, 3 sets of 10 to 20 throughout my day. And it was okay. It doesn't feel great, like I said, but it's not horrible. So I think I'm ready now to put this bar. And you know what? Because I get to choose, I'm going to use my Bloodline bar, which is from my old business, Northern Warrior. It's a 57-pound, 1.5-inch bar. If you want a bar that doesn't flex when you squat, here you go. It's fully knurled, so it's made just for squatting. So that's what we're going to use, and then hopefully as we see over time, I'll be able to add more weight, but we'll see today. So this is our test. So let's put this up here, and we'll get in position, and then we'll do this test. It's either going to feel okay or you're going to see my knee blow out. So either way, we're getting it done. Get my stance here. Remember, 3 seconds up, 3 seconds down. So that felt pretty good. That's the test. Now, over time, I want to be able to obviously do more weight and do more repetitions. On my next contest, I am just doing barbell movements for maximum effort, so single repetitions. So I will definitely do exercises, and you'll see along the way where it's high repetition and even higher repetition with heavier weights. But the whole thing I'm trying to do is just to create stability in my knee so that I can do my max efforts at this contest. And then when the contest is done, then I'll actually go back to strengthening the knee to handle, sub-maximal weights with lots of repetitions, just like we do in strongman, right? So that's more of a long-term goal, right? And this is what's important about picking things and being honest about rehabilitation and where you want to go is you can't do it all at once. And it should be specific to whatever, goal you have set, whatever thing you're trying to do. For me, it's survive this contest, hopefully set some international records if possible, and not re-injure my knee. And now I know that that game I'm going to play is only max effort, right? So that's the focus, and that's what we're gonna do. All right, let me just tell you one more thing here that I think is very important about setting goals and also having reality checks. I know for me, and mostly because I've done this recently, I was doing some really low box squats with a barbell, and I forget what I did. Maybe I did like 315 or something for a couple of sets. And that was like a good stimulus for me, right? So what I want to do, and what you should do, is you have to set some kind of baseline you need to be to actually go to the contest and when you should check it. Now, I only have 4 weeks left. Normally I would set, check-in points at 4 weeks before the contest, or maybe further depending on the severity of the injury. And I would say, here's some lifts, and if I can't do them, then I know for certain I am not healthy enough to go to this contest. And even if I'm somewhat healthy, I know that there's a very high increased risk of just going through with whatever game, sport thing I want to do is, right? So for me, I'm actually going to set the check-in point in 2 weeks from now, just because I only have 4 weeks. So we'll do it in 2 weeks from now, which is 2 weeks before the contest. And I know that maybe I won't get to the 315 pounds all the way down there, box squats that I was doing. But I think based on the events that are at the contest, which I'll slowly talk about and you'll see as we go through the videos here, I think that if I can do 225 pounds on the test exercise here, which was the full range of motion barbell squat with the 3-second concentric or eccentric and 3-second concentric phase, I think if I can get to there, that will signal to me that my knee is healthy enough to do the contest. So no matter what your situation is, you got to do this. You have to set kind of like a reality check, a gut check, whatever you want to call it, so far out from your competition that you evaluate the health of your body, and then you determine whether it's feasible for you to actually compete And, obviously there's going to be times when you don't really care what state you're in, which I don't advise, but I've been there, I've done that kind of stuff. But I would really implore you to take this kind of wisdom and set up this structure and at least force yourself to have some kind of evaluation, whether it's by you, medical professionals, or whatever, so that you're being honest with yourself. And also it will help you to taper your expectations. If you actually go compete still, it is what it is. You're human. You can make your own decisions, but maybe it will give you an idea of maybe I shouldn't do my true, 1 RM weight on that deadlift at the contest, or that maximum sprint effort, whatever it is, right? So it just helps you to kind of set expectations properly, which will help you to keep from injuring yourself further. All right. So for me, that's what it's going to be. In 2 weeks, we'll check in and we'll see if my knee can handle that kind of weight during the motion that I showed you, and then we'll make the decision.